Hello students, welcome to SR Concepts. I am Ravi Verma and in this video we will start the new chapter, the chapter number 15, some natural phenomena. Dear students, in class 7th we have learned about some natural phenomena which are disastrous. For example, we have learned about cyclones and storms. We learned what are the effects of cyclones and storms and how we can protect ourselves from these phenomena. In this chapter, we will learn about two more such phenomena, which are the lightning and the earthquake. So, we will learn the effects of lightning and earthquake, and we will also learn what are their causes and how we can protect ourselves from them. So, let's start with the first natural phenomena that is disastrous sometimes, that is lightning. So, students, you might have seen that when there is a strong wind and when the wires are moving a lot, the electrical wires are moving a lot, then you can notice certain sparks on electrical pole or electric pole. In the same way, you might have seen the electric spark when uh, a plug is loose in its socket. So, what is lightning? The lightning is also a type of electric spark, but on a huge scale. Students, in ancient times, the people did not know the cause of lightning, so they were very much afraid of lightning. They used to think that when there is lightning in the sky, that means the wrath of gods is visiting them. Means they were thinking that the god is very angry if there is lightning in the sky. But now, of course, when we understand what is the cause of lightning, we know that lightning is caused due to the accumulation of charge in the clouds. So when we know today the actual scientific cause of the lightning, we need not to be afraid of lightning as we used to be, but we need to take precautions to protect ourselves from the deadly sparks of lightning. So, students, now we understand that lightning is simply an electric spark on a huge scale and which is caused due to the accumulation of charges in the clouds. What are charges? What are their nature? How they are associated with the electric spark? This all we will be learning in this chapter. The sparks that the Greeks knew about. Let's learn about this topic. So, dear students, the ancient Greeks knew as early as 600 BC that when amber, that is a type of resin, amber is a type of resin. So when amber was rubbed with fur, it attracted light objects such as hair. So when you rub amber with a fur, you will see that amber will start attracting small things like hair. And you might have seen that when you take off your woolen or polyester cloths, your hair stand on end. If you take off these cloths in dark, you even see a spark or hear a crackling sound. So whenever you are taking off your sweater, then if you are doing this in a dark room, then you might feel a crackling sound along with a spark. So in 1752, Benjamin Franklin, an American scientist, showed that lightning and spark from your clothes are essentially the same phenomena. So the sparks that you are feeling when you are pulling off your sweater is almost similar to the phenomena that is taking place in the lightning in the sky. Alright. So students, let us perform some activities to understand the nature of electric charges. As you know that lightning or electrical sparks are because of electrical charges. So let's learn about what is the meaning of electric charge, right? So you need to recall one activity that when you rub a plastic scale on your dry hair, the scale can attract very small pieces of paper. Why does this happen? That a plastic scale, after being rubbed with your hair, starts attracting small bits of paper. What is the reason? The reason is that the scale becomes charged up. It develops certain charge. So students, as you know that the scale can be charged by rubbing, so we are going to learn about how do we charge the objects by rubbing them with other objects, right? So what we need to do in activity number 15.1, we will we will take a ball pen refill and rub it vigorously with a piece of polythene. Now we will bring it close to small pieces of paper. We will take care not to touch the rubbed end of the refill with your hand or with a metallic object. We will repeat this activity with small pieces of dry leaf, husk, mustard seeds, and we will record our observation. So here what we are doing, we are taking a ball pen refill which has been used already, and we are rubbing with a piece of polythene. So we will see that the refill becomes charged up and it starts attracting small bits of paper or small bits of dry leaves, husk and mustard seeds. So students, as we have seen here, there are two examples. In one of the activity that we discussed, that plastic scale starts attracting small bits of paper, and in another activity, activity number 15.1, we seen that a ball pen refill starts attracting small bits of paper or small bits of leaf, etc. Why does this happen? When a plastic refill is rubbed with polythene, it acquires a small electric charge. So the refill is obtaining electric charge. Similarly, when a plastic comb or a plastic scale is rubbed with dry hair, it acquires a small charge. These objects are called charged objects. In the process of charging, the refill and the plastic comb or the plastic scale and the hair also get charged. Polythene and hair also get charged. So when we are doing these activity, right, when we are rubbing the refill or the plastic comb with polythene or hair, all the things get charged. Refill and polythene gets charged up, plastic comb and hair also get charged up. So when we can say that when two objects are rubbed together, both of them acquire electric charge. Not only one, but both of them acquire electric charge. For example, when you are rubbing a plastic scale with your hair, both the scale and the hair will get charged up, then they will be called charged objects. Now let us try to charge some other objects that are familiar to you. So in activity number 15.2, you will take certain objects. For example, you will take a refill, used refill, a balloon, an eraser or a steel spoon, and you will rub them with these objects: polythene, woolen cloth, dry hair, wool, polythene, woolen cloth, and you will notice, do they attract or not? Do they attract or they don't attract small pieces of paper? So you will try to check them by bringing them close to the small pieces of paper, and you will determine whether the objects are being charged or not. So this activity need to be done by yourself. Now once we have performed these activities, we now know that the objects can be charged by rubbing together. This process is called charging by rubbing or charging by friction. Now as we know that on rubbing, the objects develop certain charges. So let us understand, are there different types of charges and how do they interact with each other? So we will select some objects from table number 15 for the next activity. We are going to do this activity, and from this activity we will learn the types of charges and how do they interact with each other. So activity number 15.3, what we will do, we will take two balloons like this, and we will tie a thread like this in the balloon and hang them near the wall in such a manner that they do not touch each other. Now what we will do, now we will do what we will do, that we will rub both of the balloon with a woolen cloth and release them. So first of all we will hang them like this, and then we will rub each of the balloon with a woolen cloth, and when we will release them, we will note the observation. What you will observe, that the two balloon start repelling each other, means they become away from each other. That means a force of repulsion is working between the two balloon once they have been rubbed with a woolen cloth. Now we will do another activity. We will take a ball pen refill and rub it with a polythene and put the refill carefully in a glass like this. But please note, we need to be careful that the rubbed surface or the rubbed part of the refill should not be touched directly with your hand. Now we will take another refill, rub it with the polythene and put it in the glass in the same manner, as the rubbed part of the refill should not be touched with your hand or any other object, especially the metal objects. So it should not be touched with your hand or metal objects. So when you will put both of the refills which have been rubbed with polythene, what you will observe, you will see that even these two refill will start repelling each other. They will repel each other, means they will move away from each other when you will put them freely in the glass. Now once again we will do one more activity. We will rub a refill and put this single refill into the glass, and then we will rub the balloon with a woolen cloth, right? And now we will bring the balloon close to the refill. So once the charged balloon is brought close to the refill, you will notice that balloon is attracting the refill, means there is a force of attraction. A force of attraction is working between the charged balloon and the charged refill. So here one thing we note, that the materials or the objects which are made up of the same materials repel each other when they are charged. So here we have seen that this balloon and this balloon, both the balloons are made up of the same material and they have been charged with the same method. So you will see that the two balloons are repelling each other. In the same way, here you can notice that the two refills which are made up of the same material and have been charged in the same manner, they also repel each other. But here in this activity, this part of the activity, in this part of the activity you will see that the balloon is made up of different material and the refill is made up of different material. Both the things have been charged by a different method. So you will see that the two objects are attracting each other. What we can say, let's summarize them. Let's summarize the results. Here you can read that a charged balloon repelled the charged balloon, a charged refill repelled the charged refill, but a charged balloon attracted a charged refill. Does it indicate that the charge on the balloon is of different kind from the charge on the refill? Yes. Here we can see that the charge on the two balloons, if we talk about the charge on the two balloons, must be similar type. In the same way, charge on the two refills should also be of similar type. But as you can see that the charge on the balloon and the charge on the refill should be of different types. That's why they are attracting each other. So you should be noting this rule, that the same charges repel each other and the different charges attract each other. So we can conclude that same charges repel each other and different charges attract each other. What is written? Can we say then that there are two kinds of charges? Yes, we can say that there are two kinds of charges, one on the balloon and the other on the refill. So the charges of balloon and refill are of different types, that's why they are attracting each other. Now can we also say that the charges of the same kind repel each other while the charges of the different kind attract each other? Yes, we can say that same charges repel while the different charges attract each other. Now what are these charges? The charges of different types are actually positive and negative. It is a convention to call the charge acquired by a glass rod when it is rubbed with a silk as positive charge. The other kind of charge is said to be negative. So dear students, suppose we have taken a glass rod and we have rubbed with a silk cloth. Suppose this is a silk cloth. So dear students, when a glass rod will be rubbed with a silk cloth, you will see that the glass rod will develop a positive charge on it. So the charge of the glass rod when it has been rubbed with the silk cloth is called a positive charge, while the other charge that is remaining is the negative charge. So other charge is the negative charge. So we can say the same charges attract each other, means if an object has positive charge and it is brought with another object with positive charge, so there will be a repulsion between each other. So positive and positive charges will repel each other, negative and negative charges will also repel each other, but two opposite charges always attract each other. For example, a positive charge will always attract a negative charge. In the same way, a negative charged object will always attract a positively charged objects. So dear students, after learning about the two types of charges, let's have a look at a few of these lines what are written here. What is written? It is observed that when a charged glass rod is brought near a charged plastic straw rubbed with polythene, there is attraction between the two. So dear students, suppose we have taken that positively charged glass rod. Suppose this is the positively charged glass rod. This has positive charge. Now we have brought this glass rod which has been positively charged close to a refill. How did we charge the refill? By rubbing it with the polythene. So suppose this is the refill and this is the rod of glass. We know that rod of glass is positively charged. So this is observed that when the glass rod which has been charged is brought near a charged refill, they will attract each other. So there is a force of attraction between the two. Can you guess what will be the charge on the refill? Yes, obviously the charge on the refill should be an opposite charge, because only oppositely charged objects attract each other. So we can say that the refill will be having negative charge. Right. Okay. Now we also noticed that the balloon which has been charged is attracting the refill. Now we determine that refill has negative charge. So can you tell what is the charge on the balloon? Yes, charge on the balloon will be positive. So here we learnt that balloon has positive charge, means balloon develops a positive charge when it is rubbed with a woolen cloth. In the same way, refill develops a negative charge when it is rubbed with a polythene. In the same way, a glass rod develops a positive charge when it is rubbed with a silk cloth. Now what is written? Electrical charges generated by rubbing are static, means they do not move by themselves. So the charges which develop by rubbing are called static charges, right? When charges move and they constitute an electric current. You have been reading about electric current since class 6th. The current in a circuit which makes a bulb glow, or current that makes a wire hot is nothing but a motion of charges. So dear students, what we have learnt that the charges which have been developed on the balloon, on the refill, or on the glass rod, these are actually not moving, they do not move. So these charges are called static charges or electrostatic charges, right? Now you might have seen that when you switch on the bulb, when you switch on, right, the bulb starts glowing. So you have read about the movement of current, right, the passage of current through the conductor. So the current which is passing through the conductor is nothing but simply a movement of charge, simply a movement of charge that move. If charge is moving through a conductor, that means current is flowing through the conductor. So electric current means flow of charges. Electric current means flow of charges. This is what you need to learn. In the next video we will learn about the transfer of charges. Thank you.